Hi, I'm Associate Professor Ahmed Fedos, and I'm the course director for Bachelor of Business. I welcome you to this session, and I hope you find it informative and it gives value to your decision making. First of all, I'd like to have an acknowledgement of the country. So Deakin would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the lands on which our university campuses are based, the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation on whose country our Geelong campuses are located, the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation on whose country our Burwood campus is located, and the Peak Wurrung people of the Mir Nation on whose country our Warrnambool campus is located. Now, why choose Deakin University? Deakin is one of the top 1% universities worldwide in terms of young university ranking. The most important part to me is that the university has received student satisfaction in Victoria, one of the #1 student satisfaction in Victoria, in the state of Victoria, for the past 12 consecutive years. That gives a message that yes, we value our students, we are responsive to our students, and our students find value or benefits from the degree they earn from Deakin University. Even in terms of teaching quality, we have been the #1 in 2020 Student Experience Survey. The UA benchmark group of Victorian universities rated us that. So that gives a rational, or that gives us a confidence to let you know that why people in the past or in present prefer Deakin University. Now, this is how I am going to organize my session today. So we'll do a little bit of why study Bachelor of Business, the course overview, the course structure. We'll go into a little bit of entry requirement if you're here interested with a double degree. And some of you might be looking for Deakin Accelerate opportunities. The different pathways through which you can enter this course, and then we'll give a little bit of a sense of what's the difference between Bachelor of Commerce and Bachelor of Business in Deakin to make your decision a bit more simpler. And then we talk about our work integrated learning, graduate outcomes, travel, and then we talk about different opportunities that you might get or you'll avail during your course journey at Deakin. And then, of course, we talk a little bit about this Deakin online environment, the different amazing student support services we offer, and then how you can apply. Right after this session, we do have a question and answer session. Please, so I look forward to seeing you there. If you have any questions, feel free to ask and interact in that session. Now, as I start my presentation, I think a key question that comes to our mind is what employers are looking for. So we have taken some of the job advertisements from different organizations ranging from public organization to private, so such as Victorian Government Graduate Program to a private big multinational such as L'Oreal in terms of their management trainee, or even Veolia, a business-to-business organization. If you look at all these different job advertisements that has been given by these organizations, you'll see a very common approach. Most of them are looking not only for your technical skills or hard skills that you're going to develop from your course. So let's say if you're doing a Bachelor of Business, you learn the business basics, the business acumen, or some of the advanced, I guess, business knowledge. Beyond that, what they're looking for is also that whether you have the soft skills or personal skills, by which I mean the verbal or written communication skill, problem solving skill, how you communicate with others, how do you build a relationship with others, a work relationship, and then of course, the work ethic. So these are some of the things that are being looked for from prospective employers. Now, there are two things that is changing in this dynamic environment of today. One is that the businesses are looking, as I highlighted in my past slide, the previous slide, that businesses are looking for important skill sets So such as creativity, resilience, problem solving, to self-management, digital literacy, to flexibility. And all these falls part of that personal skill development or soft skill that I was mentioning. And these are some of the skills that will be required in the future, and that is what is expected, and it has already started. You can see that if you go to the industry and have a look for your own self and do your research, you'll see that that is one of the most demanding aspect. The other area that we see, which is being demanded in future, is the emerging business areas that needs to be addressed. So there are some specialized niche and growth areas that are looking for employers. And so areas such as event management, project management, entrepreneurial thinking, retail and supply chain, social media, the other, I guess, a very something that is coming up and very trendy and something that really resonates with us is the sustainable development issues. So these are some of the areas where we believe that the majors of specialization in a course should focus on. So if I combine again, it's the right skill. If you have the right skill, and if you are actually developing yourself to respond to those emerging business areas, that is something that you as a candidate or you as a prospective business graduate would meet that future demand. Now, if I look back at the how's the Bachelor of Business responding to this changing market demand. First of all, as I mentioned, that the soft skills is something of an essence and necessity now going forward. So we do have dedicated units. In fact, 3 different units at 3 different or subjects at 3 different year level, which focuses on developing your personal skills. Then, of course, you'll be doing some business basics subjects or units, which ranges from, let's say, marketing management to financial literacy, to entrepreneurship, to information system. So these will give you some business, develop your business basic skills, or acumen as we call it. Then you have got the work integrated learning. Now this is a compulsory thing, unit in the Bachelor of Business, which makes it unique because our industry partners, our advisory board informs us that it is very important that students have work experience related to their course while they're doing their degree. That gives them a competitive advantage, or that gives them a bit of differentiation from other candidates. So you will be doing work integrated learning as part of your degree. And then, of course, you have got the specialization focusing on the different emerging areas, as I was mentioning previously. And then, of course, we have the business capstone unit, which gives you an opportunity to integrate all the knowledge that you have and apply into that unit. So this unit actually utilizes something called a simulation. So you actually get a software which creates a very natural business environment and the challenges associated with it. Your role is to really solve those challenges, think critically, and move that business forward. So which gives you, it's like when you are trying to fly a plane and you try to get your training in a very simulated real-time environment. So that's what you do in a business scenario. Quite exciting. Now, in terms of the course overview, it's a 3-year single degree for the Bachelor of Business itself. It's offered in Burwood Waterfront Campus, Warrnambool, and online. So the Warrnambool students would rather go in the online or cloud campus, along with our online or cloud campus. Those are enrolling as a distant or an online student. It's offered in trimester 1, 2, and 3. So we as you would appreciate, that Deakin has a trimester system, so 3 trimesters a year, and it's offered all year round in terms of your entry. Now, when I talked about the evolving business areas or niche business areas, the major and minor sequences are aligned with that. So if you look at our major sequences or specialization, as we call it, so we offer it in a broad area of specialization, and all these specializations are part of that emerging business area. So for example, event management to organizational psych to people management, project management to, if you're interested in retail and supply chain, that's a career you'd like to develop. That's something that of major you can undertake. If you're interested in digital communication and business, social media, this is a major that you can undertake or specialize yourself. If you want to establish your own business, or you are entrepreneurial minded, maybe in the future you'd like to establish your own startup or business, you can undertake an entrepreneurship and innovation major. If you're someone who's interested in sustainability, environment, meeting social goals beyond the profit goals, sustainability and development major is something for you. And then we are developing this talent acquisition major that's under development, and by the time you start, that is going to be launched. So that is more on you become a specialist in recruiting the right people, whereas people management specializes in the broad perspective of how do you manage people and how do you, so the human resource, in addition to that, how do you manage people in an organization? Along with those different options of specializations, we also have the minor sequence. It's a 4-credit point. That means you have to take 4 units or 4 subjects to fulfill that. So you can undertake a minor sequence in business analytics, economics, international trade, or marketing. So we do have electives in the unit, in the course. So there are 6 electives. So you might want to take 4 of those electives. So electives are open subject. You can take it from any faculty, any courses, units that you'd like. So you can utilize those 4 electives out of the 6 and do those units which are aligned with the minor sequence. And so when you have a degree, you have a major, let's say, in event management and a minor in marketing. So that's how you're going to position yourself, because it gives you a bit more broader scope in terms of positioning yourself or pitching yourself to your prospective employer once you graduate. Now, let's go on along with the course structure, a little bit of overview of that. So as you can see that it's divided into 3 years. So we'd often have 10 core units. The core unit means that is compulsory, and those are the units that gives you the foundation. And above that, you have 8 units from the major. So the major would comprise 6 specialized units, 1 work integrated learning, and 1 capstone. That makes the major. So it could be even, as I mentioned, even to project management, to sustainability, to retail and supply chain management. And then, of course, as I mentioned, that's 6 elective units, and which can include 4-credit point minor. So you can use the 4 of those 6 elective units to do a minor. And as you can see, the course distribution is quite the unit distribution in that course is quite systematic. So yes, I mean, this is typically for someone who's taking 4 units per year, and they will be looking forward to finish it within 3 years. But of course, depending on your situation and what status of enrollment you would like to undertake, you can adjust that sequence of the different units. Now, in terms of the practical, I think one of the elements that we look for from our industry body, and even from our prospective students or current students, is that what is the practical element in this course? And do remember that business is all about applying the different application of businesses. And so, just to give you some example. In terms of authentic, in terms of activity-based learning. So, for example, in the first year, in a unit called interpersonal skill, there is a Harvard Business simulation where you do crafting your life. So you are basically in a simulated environment. You're trying to say that where would you be? How would you craft, and how does that change over time? So I think students find it really amazing. In the second year, you've got a number of, let's say, client-based real assignments, say in project management units, or even field trips in retail unit. So you are really visiting the organization more from a business perspective. You might be already working, but this gives you a lens to build a connection between what you're learning in the course and what's going on in the real business world. And then in the third year, you've got the business capstone simulation. So again, these all illustrates the authenticity and active-based learning that we are undertaking. And on the way, you'll see that something that we realized that from the very first day, as a business graduate, you need to prepare yourself for your future career and also get ready to apply for the best position. So you'll see that we have different career readiness modules or different programs programs or support services throughout the different 3 years. So for example, interpersonal skills would have self-awareness and opportunity. Even in entrepreneurship and innovation, you try to learn about how do you pitch a video for interviews. Job application artifacts is learned in the business management capstone. And then of course, as you graduate, you'll get a professional set of modules in your course hub, which would give you a little bit of extra support to apply for different jobs or even selecting the right sustainable professional career that you're looking for. Now, in terms of the entry requirement, in terms of the school leavers, in terms of domestic, if you're currently studying in year 12 in 2022 or completed year 12 in 2021 or 2022, have not attempted higher education or vet studies since, your selection is based on the following. So in terms of the prerequisite subjects, unit 3 and 4 in your VCE, a study of at least 25 score in English as an additional language, or at least 20 in English other than EAL. And the current ATAR minimum ranking or the selection consideration is the Bird campus. We are asking for a 63.10 ATAR, Waterfront is 60, and online is 61. Quite not much variation. The slight variation is because of the different campus location and the different population size or the government regulations. Now, in terms of the entry requirements for non-school leavers, we understand that there are a number of you in a position where you'd like to come back to studies. So for your situation or circumstances, a senior secondary certificate of education with ATAR or at least 50 or equivalent, or a certificate for range of options, a diploma in any discipline or 50% completion of a diploma in related discipline, successful completion of relevant study, equivalent to at least 2 Deakin Universities units at an accredited higher education institution, or evidence of academic capability judged to be equivalent to a relevant work or life experience. So some of you might have worked for 10 years in the corporate, and you might like to come back to the studies, and of course there are opportunities. So please feel free to inquire and apply. Or even a minimum 55 on the STAT multiple choice when the application has not completed senior secondary education. So there are a range of options which you can explore, and feel free to ask our enrollment team, admission team, to get more further query about this, or feel free to ask questions in the next session about entry requirements if you have any. Now, I know there are a number of international students who are listening to this presentation. In terms of your entry requirement, IELTS over score of 6 with no band less than 6 or equivalent. In terms of academic entry requirement, international 22 VC students can apply. And all other international students must have completed equivalent of year 12 Australian education. There is a special session on international entry, so feel free to join that or ask us question again during the question answer session. This is a very interesting program, and some of our audience today might belong to this cohort and look forward to get some more information. This is called the Deakin Accelerate, and it's a distinctive VC extension studies program. It's pitched or positioned towards high achieving students, university level opportunities by students so they can do up to 2 units during the VC, and we offer different areas of study within the business and law faculty. Why would you choose Deakin Accelerate? You can choose from 20 different study areas. You can boost your ATAR. You can actually get the university environment and the challenges and I guess the enjoyment while you're doing your VCE. It's study for free, ease your transition into the university, and stand out of the crowd. So if you'd like to look for more information, please do get into that link of deakin.edu.au accelerate and have a browse through. And as you can see, one of the testimonial from one of our 2019 Deakin Accelerate student that they find this experience valuable. So yeah, if you are from that cohort or if you're looking for that, please do explore. Now, in terms of the pathways, so yes, you can go into the so this is just an example of so you can apply to Deakin from the school, you can apply to Deakin from the workforce, you can once you enter into a course and you'd like to have a change of mind, you are allowed to do that, but depending on different circumstances or eligibility. You can study the same course at a different campus. So you might choose Waterfront campus versus Bird campus, or even go for the online cloud campus. You can apply to Deakin from Deakin College or Diploma of Business, or apply to Deakin from other recognized RTO providers or TAFE. One interesting question that we will get that in our next interactive session is the difference between Bachelor of Business and Bachelor of Commerce. Fundamentally, I see Bachelor of Business different from Bachelor of Commerce in two different areas. One is, as you can see in this area, is that we focus in the Bachelor of Business, some of in fact, all the majors are streamlined towards emerging or niche areas. So those areas which are emerging, those areas which will have demand in the future. Whereas for the Bachelor of Commerce, the majors are offered for more aggregated majors or conventional or traditional majors, so such as accounting, if you want to become an accountant, marketer, financial planner, which requires accreditation, which are mainstream and has been going for a long time. Whereas if you look at the majors in Bachelor of Business, it's all about event sustainability, entrepreneurship, and innovation, something very pitched towards niche areas and I think it well positions you from small and medium to even large enterprises to public or private enterprises. So that's the fundamental difference as we see it. And of course, you can take the minors, which can align with either Bachelor of Business and Bachelor of Commerce. So there's nothing to lose out. I think that the main selling point or I guess the main value proposition for yourself is that choose one of these degrees which would add value. In terms of the work integrated learning, you have you can take different options. As I said, like you can take work experience while you're studying the course, and that can come into different types or different forms. So you can take a consulting experience, you can have an entrepreneurship experience, you can go for a pure internship or international consultants experience. So sometimes these are even offered virtually. And I recall one of our group of students in the Bachelor of Business taking virtual a work integrated learning experience in Disney, and they solved a real-time problem for Disney, and they found it really valuable. And so there are numerous examples of that coming in, and with everything borders opening up, and I guess the new normal situation being normal, you can also take on in-person consultancy experience, so such as the business development clinic. So what they do is that they give us the opportunity for our students to actually meet the real clients and solve a business problem for them. So they are servicing as a business development clinic. And then of course you can take entrepreneurship experience such as Spark, so if you're interested in establishing your own business, the Spark gives you an opportunity to get mentorship, to develop a real business plan for future, and apply that so that you are quite ready to establish your business when you graduate. And then, of course, you've got the internship opportunities, such as university or self-sourced internship, or sometimes like you might be working full-time and you might say that I've got enough experiences. So, instead of your own function, you can work in another related function of your business, and you can craft that as an internship opportunity or an experience, work integrated learning experience opportunity. This is an important question, which comes out like, what is the career outcomes in terms of doing this degree? So the career outcomes is like retail and supply chain. I've seen students, and that's the data that we get, like they've become professional in events. Many of our graduates are in public services, the government services. So some of them have turned into project manager or project analyst. Some of them even have opened their small businesses or become entrepreneur. Some of them went into the HR profession by being staff development profession. Some of them had taken like sustainability, let's say account executive, or they have gone into consultancy of responsible business planning. And then many of our graduates also have turned into their career. I mean, they've gone into a career of digital communication, social media making, and numerous other related fields to digital communication. So these are some of the career outcomes that we have seen from our data set. And as you can see, all the majors that we have on offer, the niche majors, all aligns with the different career outcomes that our graduates have received or attained. Now, where are our graduates now? These are just sample or just a representative of our different graduates now. So, for example, we have seen that many of our graduates are in Westpac, in different communication agencies, from IBM to different public and private company, to even like such as Telstra. Many of our graduates are working within Deakin University and other university sectors. They've gone into event services such as Melbourne and Olympic Park. Some of them, as I say, like have gone into public services such as Melbourne State or Victorian State Government or Melbourne State Government of Victoria, Yarra City Council, and then some of them even have gone into non-profit and to even local councils. So you can see the immense variety of placements that we have for our business Bachelor of Business, and this is the reason why it's a very fast-growing degree and very appealing to prospective students who are looking to really build their careers and into those innovative areas. Now, with borders opening up, of course, you'll get immense opportunity to take a travel abroad. So you can actually do a unit abroad, or you can take a study experience, or even in work integrated learning experiences. And there are several variety of options that are available. So please feel free to explore more. There will be special sessions on study abroad programs. Feel free to explore that or ask us questions in that interactive session. As you can see, this is a little student journey where they have actually done some study abroad program to enrich their learning. And then finally, when they started in 2017 and when they're graduating, they have established themselves, I mean, they've attained a full-time graduate position. So they've enjoyed their experience with work integrated learning, both within and outside, and including the different business acumen they have learned. What are the different support services? So you can get scholarships, you can get different financial supports. So if you are into looking into these opportunities, please feel free to go into this link, or feel free to ask us during the interactive session, or go into those scholarship session or study support services sessions during this open day, virtual open day. In terms of student supports, we have a range of student support services such as Deakin Medical Center, multi-faith chaplains, disability support, counseling, to different Deakin University Student Association. They're great, like they offer different functions and events and a lot of value addition. In fact, you can enjoy. It's not all about academic world. Studying, it's all about the experience of the university. It's a package to me. So and these support services really makes your journey valuable and enjoyable at the same time. Of course, when you graduate, we don't forget about you. Before you are part of the alumni, and to make you sure that you are career ready, there are university support services such as Deakin Talent, who will give you your opportunity to develop your skill in terms of jobs and internship, placement, resume development, employer network development, even career success workshops, or one-to-one coaching. How to apply? You can apply for the trimester 1 2023, can be made via VTech, or non-school leavers, you can apply in trimester 3 or trimester 1. Again, feel free to explore these links. For international students, feel free to join a dedicated session, which will give you an opportunity to ask questions about fees and scholarships, international student life at Deakin, which is very important, and all borders becoming normal. You'd love to welcome you on board. So feel free to join that session and ask us questions in the next interactive session. So thank you for joining us. So please feel free to join the live Q&A session up next. Explore the different resources, chat to our experts on web chat at any time, and join us on campus at Open Day in August to experience our facilities, soak up the campus vibe, and talk to experts. Thank you for attending, and I look forward to see you in our interactive session.
Hi everyone, welcome to Deakin's Virtual Open Day. Today's live Q&A session will be all things studying business at Deakin. My name's Cav and I work in the Future Students team here at Deakin. Today, I'm thrilled to be joined by our presenters, Dr. Ahmed and Dr. Omar, who are academics from the Faculty of Business and Law, Belinda from our Work Integrated Learning team, as well as one of our star student ambassadors, Maura, who is currently studying the double degree of Arts and Business here at Deakin. If you would like to ask a question, please type it into the Q&A section at the bottom of the screen, and we will do our best to respond to all of your questions during this session. Now, if you have any unanswered questions at the end of the session, our team of experts will be available on web chat all day to assist with those questions, including any specific international related questions if we have any international students joining us today. Now, to kick us off, we have our first question for Dr. Ahmed and Maura. What are the study abroad opportunities within this degree?
I'll start. Thank you for that question, and thanks for asking that question. And first of all, welcome to the question and answer session, and welcome on a Sunday morning, and thanks for joining in. Now, there are a number of opportunities to study abroad, and so students can take that as part of their one of the electives, or they could take part of one of their like in exchange of the work integrated learning opportunity, but doing it abroad. I mean, I think the best person to give you that experience is a lived experience of which Maura has experienced. So I'll actually turn the attention to Maura, and then she can give really her experiences, what she has. Yeah.
Thank you, Ahmed, and thank you so much to the student that brought up that question. So I will be studying abroad next semester at Copenhagen in Denmark, and I'll be focusing on my arts majors, which is international relations. But it is such a great opportunity to really focus on a specialized topic that you're interested in, get to know a bit of the world, meet new people, and experience other things with other students as well that just want to, you know, enjoy life at uni. So I 100%, I'm very excited for it.
It sounds really exciting, Maura. Our next question actually comes from Sylvia, and Sylvia asks, what is the difference between the Bachelor of Business and the Bachelor of Commerce and the majors within these two degrees? Perhaps Dr. Ahmed, if you can answer that one.
Yeah, thanks for asking that question, and often we do get that question because it is something of a worthy question. In terms of the differences between Bachelor of Business and Bachelor of Commerce, so basically the business acumen would be quite similar in both the Bachelor of Business and Bachelor of Commerce. What differentiates is mainly the majors, as rightly pointed out in that question. So if you think of the Bachelor of Commerce, some of those majors are mainstream, some of those are accredited. And what we pitch or position this is that they are for the professions. And whereas if you look at the Bachelor of Business, and if you've seen my presentation where I have highlighted that in terms of the business needs in future and how the businesses are changing, there are some emerging areas that needs to be fulfilled. And there are specific job opportunities and job growth in those sectors such as event, project, sustainability and development, talent acquisition, to retail and supply chain. Now, these are the majors which are offered within the Bachelor of Business. These are, as we call it, and as you'd see from the industry gaps, or what the demand is there, is that these are innovative fields. And these majors clearly differentiates from the commerce offering. The commerce offering would have the traditional, the mainstream, like marketing, information system, accounting. Whereas here we call it more of the people management, whereas like you have more of the organizational psychology plus the human resource elements making up the people management. Whereas if you're doing the human resource within the Bachelor of Commerce, you get more of an accredited mainstream units that shapes up that major. So this is one of the fundamental differences. The other fundamental difference currently what we have is that in the Bachelor of Business, the work integrated learning is compulsory. And the other thing that I see the difference is that within the Bachelor of Business, the soft skills or personal skills, that has a bit of greater focus in the sense that it has got three units which are scaffolded in the first year, second year, and the third year. Let's say the first year has interpersonal skills, second year you have got team skills, third year you've got the other unit focuses on global citizenship. So these are dedicated units which are streamlined in the Bachelor of Commerce, and these are core units in the Bachelor of Business. So fundamentally, yeah, that's another difference. So the main difference again falls back to the primary question, is that the majors are streamlined differently.
Thanks so much for that, Dr. Ahmed. I know that is a question that a lot of students have, the difference between the Bachelor of Commerce and Bachelor of Business. Now, our next question comes from Penny, and Penny asks, what type of practical placement opportunities does this course offer? I was thinking perhaps Belinda, if you want to take that one since you're the expert.
Thank you for that, and thanks for your question, Penny. We do have many practical options available, as Dr. Ahmed just mentioned. WIL is a core requirement as part of the Bachelor of Business, so we do offer quite a number and a broad spectrum of different placement opportunities, and they can stem from domestic placement opportunities where students can go and source their own placement in an organisation that they are interested in, an industry that they're passionate about as well, where we also have team-based learning opportunities as well, where you can work, I guess, in a similar sort of learning environment to what you're used to, but getting the support from academics with working with external organisations as well. So giving you a bit of more of a, I guess, a supported experience in the practical placement. And then we go all the way through to sort of international experiences. I know Maura mentioned a little bit about her study abroad experience, but you could also, whilst you are studying abroad, you could take an international placement while you're there, similarly to a self-sourced domestic placement. And we also have study tours, which can link quite closely with the majors that you might be undertaking at the time as well. So thanks for your question, Penny.
Thanks so much for that, Belinda. We've got our next question, and that comes from Jonathan. Now, Jonathan asks, what sort of job prospects are there from a Bachelor of Business degree? Now, Dr. Ahmed, I'm assuming that depends on what type of major you select, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess if you look specifically into the majors are quite streamlined into your career perspective. So for example, if you're doing event, you do become, let's say you start with the event coordinator and then you can go up the ladder. What Maura is doing is project management as a major. So she'll have very specific paths in the, let's say, project assistance, and then she goes upwards. Or maybe or let's say you want to develop, you don't want to go into a career path, rather your career path is someone who wants to be an entrepreneur. So you take an entrepreneurship and an innovation major that leads up to developing or setting up your own business. Say someone is more climate focused and wants to have a go at and building their career in sustainability and development. So that is a specific major we have. So yes, I mean, our fine-tuned majors these are fine-tuned, and these are fine-tuned towards your very specific career pathways. Yeah.
Thanks so much for that, Dr. Ahmed. We do have another question come through, and that question asks, are you able to apply for an early entry for the Bachelor of Business, or do you have to wait until August to apply through VTAC? Now, I can answer that one. So there is no early entry programs, unfortunately, for Deakin University at this stage. So if you are currently in year 12, August is when VTAC applications open, and that's when we encourage all students to preference Deakin and put in their preferences. So today we're talking about the Bachelor of Business, but there are so many business and commerce related courses that we have at Deakin that you can explore. So yes, to sum up, no early entry programs at Deakin at this stage, but applications do open via VTAC in August through to September. Now we've got another question. Give me one moment. I'm just going to. Is the Bachelor of Business offered via the online mode? Dr. Ahmed or Dr. Omar, perhaps you can take that one.
Yeah, I think answer that question. I think, yes, of course. I think students can actually do the course online. I mean, there are some units, they are offered fully online, and there are some other units which are actually in blended mode. Part of those units can be in off campus, and some of them can be on campus. So there are options actually. Students can take as online student, or they can actually do it as fully face-to-face on campus, students. Is that right, Ahmed?
Yeah, I mean, and just to add to that, yeah, absolutely. And just to add to that, I think one of the things that we say at Deakin is that one of the fundamental DNA of Deakin is the seamless experience that students get by being online and as well as on campus. So yes, it is offered online. And I guess I need to add to that is that if you're doing it online, you will have a seamless experience, which is like you can't really differentiate by being on campus or if you're fully on like off campus or online, as we say, Cloud Deakin student, because it's designed in that way. So like, for example, if a lecture material which Omar is doing, or Professor Omar is doing in his let's say in his class, it's delivered like in his class, but it's recorded and given to the online students. They can even, like, there are some in many units there are, or subjects, there are some lectures which you can stream through, and you can actually get into the lectures live by being an online student. And you do get cloud seminars designed. So yes, so I think Deakin has an advantage, and we have been really ahead of a number of other universities, and we can proudly say that for a number of years. And I guess, yeah, that just gives a bit more, I guess, exceptional experience for our students. Yeah.
Thank you so much for that, Dr. Ahmed. We'll move on to our next question, and that's from Tina. Tina asks, does people management include traditional HR topics? Is it the same as human resource management?
I'll have a go at that. So yeah, this is an often a frequent asked questions, and it's a very good question. Yes, if you look at the units or the subjects which comprises the people management major, there are elements of human resources, as well as if you'll see that there are elements of organizational psychology, or so it's a blend of both. The only difference is, of course, with the in fact, the people management is now is accredited. That's one of the majors that has some accreditation. So yes, I guess the fundamental difference is the human resource has some mainstream human resource subjects throughout, whereas in the people, if you look at the people management major, we've got 6 specialized units, which will comprise both of your human resource specialized units plus some organizational psychology, or people management as we call it. And then of course you'll do the will, one of the will experiences, and we would promote that you do a will experience related to the people management. And then you have your capstone. So fundamentally, the major is streamlined differently. It's much more flexible, I would say organic, and so that is the difference. Belinda, would you like to add anything in terms of the work integrated learning within the majors, or?
No, I think you've covered everything, Ahmed. As you said, though, yes, we do encourage students who are studying people management to take a will experience in that specific area. As I said, we do offer those team-based consulting projects where you do get to work with external organizations, and they're called multidisciplinary teams. So you would get, a HR student with a business analytics student, with an accounting student, whoever it might be, and you as the HR student would focus on the people management side of the project. So even if you don't get to go into an external organization per se, you will still get an experience of what it's like to sort of run a mini HR function in that sense as well. So we do have lots of offerings in that space.
That sounds really cool. And Belinda, with the work experience, can students choose where they do their work experience, or is it sort of placed for them?
No, so we do have lots of organisations that come to us with many different types of experiences, and looking for students to place in those experiences, because they sort of feed into their talent pool, as we like to call it. So it's a bit of for the student, it's a bit of a try before you buy. Make sure it's the right industry that they're interested in. It's the right workforce. It's the right career pathway, and also for the organisation, it's a way to sort of see if the student fits in well with them as well. So some students will go on and get ongoing career opportunities from a particular organisation, and from the same perspective, students are more than welcome to go and search for their own placement if there is a particular industry or a particular organisation that they're passionate about. And as well for cloud students, it works well for them, so they can go and find organisations for themselves to go and work in, specifically if they are rural as well. So we don't get a lot of rural organisations coming to us. So it is a great opportunity for students in those sort of circumstances to go and find their own as well.
Yeah, that does sound like a really great opportunity for all students to take advantage of. Now, our next question comes from Sylvia. Now, Sylvia asks, does Deakin offer a VCE extension program for secondary school students in the business area? Maura, I know that you completed Deakin Accelerate, which is our extension program. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Oh, yes, of course. Thank you so much for that question. So I did the Deakin Accelerate program in 2019, and I was a part of the management course. I loved it, honestly, because you really do get to feel like you're a first year student in year 12, and you learn so many things, not only just your entrepreneurial skills, and as well, just like people management. You really get to know what it's like to be a student at Deakin. So since I was a very committed student towards all my extracurricular activities, I was very busy. So I did it through the online program. And it was so good because you could watch lectures recorded during your free periods at school. And as well, you could meet other students from regional Victoria. So one thing that we did was we actually organised a day to go into campus and look into the library and just organise together and just work together. So such a great opportunity for it. And I 100% would do it again.
Thanks so much for your insight, Maura. Now, our next question is actually from Sukpal, and Sukpal asks, what kind of a workload can I expect when studying this course? Perhaps Dr. Omar, you have some advice to give there, and perhaps Maura as well?
Okay, so yeah, I think the workload is that, I think the key is to actually study on regular basis, right? So it doesn't really necessarily mean that you have to study 30 hours or 25 hours each week or something like that. So just the regular basis study is the key to success, I guess. So Maura, can you tell something more, maybe?
Yes, great answer, Omar. One thing that I would probably say is keep a planner to yourself. Make sure you're organized throughout your time management, and as well, keep in mind of all the dates of all your assignments. You do not want to mix that up and then get towards the end of the date and you're, crunching on time. And another thing as well is just remember to keep time for yourself. You are a university student, and it's so important to keep involved in terms of your passions, but then again, remember to step back a little bit sometimes. So yeah.
That is wonderful advice, Maura, and I couldn't agree more. Now, our next question has come to directly for Dr. Omar and Dr. Ahmed. What kind of mentorship can the academic lecturers provide? Could Dr. Ahmed or Dr. Omar share their experience about teaching at Deakin or working in the industry?
Okay, let me start with, I think there is a lot of, facilities for the students. I think students can, ideally they would actually contact with the academics through the Cloud Deakin, right? But other than that, there is also opportunity for the consultations on one-to-one basis, right? And for the students from the accelerator program, we actually take care in particular for those students, especially. So they can always actually contact the staff, academic staff, lecturers, or the tutors, right? And they can have consultation in one-to-one basis. Okay, and I think I often also get questions, I think, during the weekends, and always just respond to their questions. So it's actually very informal sometimes, and the students, they really like those kind of things. Yeah, so Ahmed, you can share some of your experience as well.
No, well said. And I think, yeah, as an academic, if I take my foot in an academic shoe, yes, I guess we also work as a mentor for students, and especially I particularly for my circumstances, I teach capstone units, and where I get more graduate students. So often we do talk a lot in the class about career perspectives. We have got tasks, and also wherever opportunities arises, because I think our alumni also works as a very strong network in terms of placing students. And so, yeah, so it's not only about the academic, very core acumen discussions, which we are all expert in, but also it's about mentorship. It's also about shaping whom you are. And I think it's not only about the lead academic, but also there are a number of tutors who are involved, and do remember that we have seminars which are designed to be very interactive. So often, yes, they become a very strong mentor in terms of shaping, and we are educators at the end of the day. So we have multiple roles, if not only just making sure that you have done the studies and you've passed with great marks, but also have you placed yourself in the career, or so those discussions are always there. And as an almost said, like I think, if the doors are always open, I think, at Deakin, and I think this is one of the other strengths we have, that the teachers are friendly, and it's approachable. I guess everyone loves, all the academics we have loves teaching. I would actually give this question, it's an interesting question, to Maura. How was your experience dealing or interacting with your different teachers?
I loved it, to be honest. Honestly, whenever you're struggling with an assignment, or, just any sort of information that you probably needed to further explain on, in a seminar, there's no such thing as a silly question, I find. Even if you just quickly email them and just say, look, would you be able to help me? Is there any more journal articles that you would recommend in terms of me doing a little bit of further reading into it? They're more than happy to help out with it. Yeah.
Extremely well said, Maura and Dr. Ahmed and Dr. Omar. Now, our next question comes from Sean, and Sean asks, if I do the degree online for my first trimester, is it possible for me to switch it to on campus in the second?
Yes, definitely. I think, yes, of course. Yeah, they can do it. It's actually quite a flexible system here. So yeah, they can do it, I think.
That's exactly right, Dr. Omar. So if you are studying online in your first trimester, you are certainly welcome to apply for a transfer to an on-campus mode. There are weighted average mark requirements and things like that, depending on the course that you select, but it is certainly possible and really, really common for students to change their mode depending on their personal circumstances. Now, we've got a question for the entire group. Can you please share more about the majors and minors available in the Bachelor of Business? Could Maura share how she's finding her majors and minors? Perhaps, Maura, if you want to get started on that question.
Of course, yes. What a great question. So I'm currently studying in my degree in business. I'm currently doing project management. I love this one just because I love working with people, getting to know what it's like to be in a team as a leader, and working on projects as well. One aspect that I actually really enjoyed this trimester was I did the project management introduction unit, and we did a group assignment towards making an app for a festival. And I loved it because you really got to know what it was like to be in a Scrum team, make MVPs, do all the retrospective meetings and stand-ups, all that lingo that comes with project management. You'll soon find out more about it. But yeah, I've honestly loved it, and it makes me more excited in terms of what I'll be doing towards my last couple of years.
What about you, Dr. Omar? Any particular favorite majors of yours?
Because my background is actually economics, so I think sustainability, that major is actually very interesting, I think. Yeah. So I think you do a few economics units, and with that also some management units as well, with that, some units with the environment and energy economics as well. I think that's quite emerging major, that one, sustainability and development, that major. And after completing that major, students can apply for career like in policy analyst, or an economist, or environmentalist. Those kind of jobs are available for that particular kind of major. Okay.
Certainly, and a lot of the majors in the Bachelor of Business are quite sort of emerging, aren't they, Dr. Ahmed?
Yeah, and I mean, being the course director, I think I love all the majors because, and there is a reason, because I mean, if again, as I highlighted earlier, that each of the majors are tailored towards a certain career, and I guess it again falls back, because you are the center here, like as a student, so it falls back to your choice and falls back to what you want to do, and I would suggest that by first year, when you have done all the core units, which gives a complete set of knowledge of what your majors will be likely. So take that advantage and then go towards second year and start commencing your majors. And I would say that do a major which you really think you're passionate about, and you can build a career on that. So yeah, regardless of that, I think each major has its own strength. Yeah.
Certainly, and if you would like to know any more about the majors, our course page has linkable, it is linkable to all of our majors, so you can click through and learn about each and every one on our Bachelor of Business course page as well. Now, we've got a question for Dr. Ahmed and Dr. Omar, and I think this might be one of our final questions since we are nearing the end of our session. Dr. Ahmed and Dr. Omar, what double degrees are possible to be studied within the Bachelor of Business?
Yeah, I'll go with that because I think in the Bachelor of Business, there's one single double degree that you could do actually, like in sense of like the offering is which Mora is doing. So Bachelor of Arts and Bachelor of Business and Bachelor of Arts. So you do the 16 units, 8 units from, the half of the units from the Bachelor of Business and half of the unit from the Bachelor of Arts. So that's the currently that's the double degree offering we have. I think we should give that floor to Mora because she's a double degree student of ours, so she could give her experience.
Certainly. What's your experience studying a double degree, Mora?
It's great, honestly. I love it just because if you're a student that has lots of interests in terms of different fields, it's a great way to really dive in and get to know all of your strengths and just learn as well along the way. In terms of the business side, as I've already mentioned, I'm doing project management, but then on the art side, I've been very interested in international relations studies and communication. So I'm majoring in public relations and international relations. And it's just great because each class is very different and you're involved with all of other students from many other degrees too. So it's just a great way to meet new people. But then again, really open your mind up in terms of what the world has to offer in that way, whether that is for you being more like people inclined or in terms of journalism, or whether that is being a part of the UN or in terms of like government policy work. So it's great.
Certainly. And Mora, what about your workload? So you mentioned you're doing a double degree. Is your workload more than someone studying a single degree, for example?
Yes, I would agree that it is a little bit more, but it is very doable. You know, if you just maintain organized, on time in terms of your assignments, your notes, it's just a great way. But yeah, I really do feel like if you put yourself towards it, anyone can do it.
Yeah, I think one more thing is it's just the option for the minors as well, actually. I think it is a previous question as well, that you can do the major, but students sometimes they may think that, okay, I am doing major in supply chain and retail maybe, but I also want to do some other unit maybe in some other subjects like economics or marketing, right? So they have the option for that, as well, to do the minor. So you need to do 4 units for minor along with 8 units for the major. So that's another option. Yeah.
That is a really important note, Dr. Omar, and thank you for pointing that one out. We've got our final question, and that one comes from Armin. Now, Armin asks, if you choose a major and decide you're no longer interested in it, can you change majors and how would you go about this?
Yeah, interesting question. And yes, you can do it because there are electives. So in case you have done 1 or 2 units within that major, and then you have had change in mind, yes, you can, but those units that you have consumed or you have already done, those becomes your elective. So yes, there's not really the extra thing that you need to do, but of course you need to it would be wise to do this earlier in your major rather than late, because by that time you have already almost done the major. So yeah, yes, there are opportunities for changing it, but and do remember that from the first year onwards, you do have a lot of conversation with your student advisor. You have a course planning map. And of course, we are there as well. Your academics are there. A number of people, student peer mentoring support services are there, which you can have a little bit of conversation. So, and your friends will be there who have already done those units. So yes, you'll get a number of advice. And I think by second year, students have really made up a solid, grounding and decision that yes, they would like to take that major and carry on.
All really great advice. Thank you so much for that, Dr. Ahmed. Unfortunately, that's all we have time for today. Thank you everyone for joining us. It's great to see so many of you interested in studying business at Deakin. If we have not yet responded to your question, again, please feel free to join our web chat at the bottom right side of your screen, where expert staff are ready to answer your questions throughout the day. If you would like to learn more about the course, as well as I mentioned, you'll also find loads of information on our Deakin Open Day website, as well as the specific course pages on our website as well, that I encourage you all to explore. Thank you so much, Dr. Ahmed, Dr. Omar, Belinda, and Maura, for all of your advice, insights, and taking the time to answer the questions today. So thank you all for your time. Thanks so much for joining the live Q&A session at Deakin, and we hope to see you at Deakin soon. Thank you. Bye.